you ever heard of a king so rich that when he gave away gold, it made the price of gold go down around the world? His name was Mansa Musa, and he ruled the powerful Mali Empire in West Africa. Today, in the Calabash Diaries, we open the calabash and travel back over 700 years to discover how rich Mansa Musa really was, how Mali became so powerful, why Timbuktu became the center of learning, how one journey changed the world's economy, and the story of his family and final days. Get comfortable, little historian. Our journey begins now. Mansa Musa was born around the year 1280. His homeland was beautiful and full of contrasts: hot, wide deserts, powerful rivers like the Niger, and land so rich in gold that people said the ground itself sparkled. He came from the Keita dynasty, a royal family that ruled over the Mali Empire, one of the biggest and richest kingdoms in West Africa. But Mansa Musa didn't start as a king. The king before him, Mansa Abubakari II, had a dream. He wanted to explore the ocean far to the west, beyond the edge of the known world. So he built a fleet of ships and sailed off. But he never returned. Because Musa was his deputy and trusted helper, he became king after Abubakari disappeared. In the Mande language, the word Mansa means king or emperor. So from then on, he was known as Mansa Musa. But Mansa Musa was not just a ruler. He was a wise and kind leader. He believed in peace, justice, and helping people. Every day he would pray and give thanks to Allah because he was a devoted Muslim. He also loved books, knowledge, and learning. He built mosques, schools, and libraries so that children and scholars could learn about science, math, history, and religion. Mansa Musa didn't care just about gold or power. He wanted his people to grow strong through faith and education. That's why many people say he was not only the richest man who ever lived, but also one of the wisest and most generous kings in history. Mansa Musa had so much gold that even today, hundreds of years later, people still say he was the richest person who ever lived, even richer than Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. He didn't just have gold, he owned the land where gold came from. The Mali Empire sat on top of some of the largest gold mines in the world. People used gold for trade, art, and even decoration. In Musa's time, half of the world's gold came from West Africa, especially from Mali. And all of it belonged to the king. Even though salt seems ordinary today, it was extremely valuable back then. People needed salt to preserve their food, especially meat, and to stay healthy in the hot climate. Mansa Musa controlled salt mines in the Sahara Desert, and he taxed merchants who carried salt across his land. That brought even more wealth to Mali. Mansa Musa also controlled the main trade routes between North Africa and West Africa. Merchants crossed the Sahara Desert to bring goods like cloth, books, copper, spices, and more. Anyone who wanted to pass through had to pay taxes, which made Mali even richer. All of this made Mansa Musa's empire a center of wealth, culture, and knowledge. Gold was so common in Mali that even the horses wore golden saddles, and palaces were decorated with gold leaf. But Mansa Musa didn't just hoard his wealth. He used it to help people, support education, and build great cities. Fun fact, his wealth would equal over $400 billion today. But Mansa Musa wasn't greedy. He used his riches to build cities, help the poor, and spread knowledge. Before Mansa Musa became king, Mali was already a powerful place. One of its earliest heroes was Sundiata Keita, the Lion King of Mali. Sundiata was a brave and wise warrior who united many tribes and founded the Mali Empire in the 1200s. He brought peace to the land and created a strong government based on justice, unity, and respect for all cultures. Years later, when Mansa Musa became king, he continued what Sundiata started. but he took Mali to the next level. Under Mansa Musa's rule, the Mali Empire grew bigger than ever before. It became one of the largest empires in the world at the time. The empire expanded to include parts of Mali, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, Nigeria, and Mauritania. That's over 400 cities and towns. From big trading centers to small farming villages, people lived in safety and harmony. Mansa Musa made sure his soldiers protected the roads, so merchants, travelers, and families could move from place to place without fear. People could travel, trade, and visit relatives across the empire safely. The army was well trained and ready to defend the empire. But Musa preferred peace over war. He believed that a united people are stronger than a fighting one. Mali was home to many different tribes and languages: the Mande, Fulani, Soninka, Wolof, and others. Each group brought its own music, clothing, food, and traditions. Instead of fighting, they celebrated their differences and helped Mali become rich in culture and ideas. In the evenings, after a day of trading or farming, people gathered to listen to griots, storytellers, musicians, and historians. Griots sang with instruments like the kora, a 21-stringed harp made from a gourd. They told tales of heroes, kings, and battles, passing on knowledge from generation to generation. People danced under the stars to the beat of drums and balafons, a wooden xylophone. These celebrations helped keep the history and spirit of Mali alive. Mansa Musa's reign was a golden age of peace, pride, and prosperity, where people weren't just rich in gold, but rich in culture, wisdom, and unity. Cultural nugget. In Mali, griots, storytellers, kept history alive with stories, songs, and proverbs. Mansa Musa believed that knowledge is more valuable than gold. Even though he was the richest man in the world, he knew that a smart nation is stronger than a wealthy one. So, he turned the desert city of Timbuktu into a shining center of learning, a place where the mind could grow, just like gold could shine. Thanks to Mansa Musa, Timbuktu became one of the smartest cities in the world during the 1300s. It was like a medieval version of a university city, just like Oxford or Cairo. What did he build? Sankore University, one of the oldest universities in the world. Students came here to learn about astronomy, medicine, law, math, history, and religion. Libraries. These weren't just bookshelves. They held thousands of handwritten manuscripts on every topic you can imagine. Scholars copied books by hand, using ink and leather scrolls. Mosques as classrooms. The mosques weren't just for prayer. They were centers of education, where teachers and students gathered in the courtyards under the stars and sun to study and debate. Timbuktu was so famous that people traveled from all over Africa, Arabia, and even parts of Europe to study there. It was a global hub of learning long before many modern cities were even built. Arabic, African, and even Latin languages were spoken in classrooms. Teachers, or ulama, were treated like treasures. People honored them for their wisdom. Students wore simple robes, carried writing boards, and showed great respect for knowledge. Here's a mind-blowing fact. Some of the books written in Timbuktu during Mansa Musa's time still exist today, and they're over 600 years old. They're written on parchment made from animal skin. Many are stored in private family collections and museums in Mali. Some of them have never been fully translated. They're still holding secrets of ancient African science and philosophy. These books prove that Africa was a place of deep wisdom, long before colonial times, a continent full of scholars, poets, and scientists. Mansa Musa's gift to the world wasn't just gold, it was a legacy of learning. Thanks to him, Timbuktu became a light in the desert, showing that when a nation values knowledge, it can inspire the whole world. In the year 1324, Mansa Musa went on an incredible journey. a Hajj, or sacred pilgrimage, to Mecca in present-day Saudi Arabia. As a devoted Muslim, it was important for him to fulfill the 5 pillars of Islam, and Hajj was one of them. But this wasn't just any trip, it was the most legendary Hajj in history. His royal caravan was unbelievably huge, like a golden parade stretching across the desert for miles. 60,000 people traveled with him, including soldiers, scholars, officials and musicians. 12,000 servants, each carrying gold bars and wearing fine silk and brocade. 100 camels, and each camel carried at least 100 kilograms, about 220 pounds, of gold. They passed through Timbuktu, across the Sahara Desert, and into North Africa. Everywhere they stopped, Mansa Musa gave away gold generously, to the poor, to merchants, and to rulers. When they reached Cairo, Egypt, people were shocked. They had never seen such wealth before. Mansa Musa donated gold to the poor. He built mosques and bought souvenirs for everyone in his caravan. He gave so much gold that it flooded the market, resulting in a drastic drop in the value of gold across Egypt. Prices went crazy. Bread, clothes, and supplies became too expensive or too cheap. The economy broke. It took 10 years for the Egyptian economy to recover, but Mansa Musa didn't just spend, he learned. On his way back home to Mali, he brought something even more valuable than treasure: architects, including Al-Sahili, a brilliant architect from Spain who helped design stone mosques and palaces. Al-Sahili introduced new styles, like mud brick buildings with wooden beams seen in Jingwereba Mosque in Timbuktu. He invited Islamic scholars and poets to teach in Mali. They helped shape schools and universities that would last for generations. Introduced new ideas for city planning, law, religious schools and public spaces, and he turned cities like Gao, Niani, and Timbuktu into well-organized centers of culture and trade. News of Mansa Musa's wealth and wisdom spread to Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. For the first time, Mali appeared on world maps, drawn by European cartographers. In a famous 1375 map called the Catalan Atlas, Mansa Musa is shown sitting on a throne of gold, holding a shining golden nugget. He became a symbol of African power and brilliance. People from all over the world wanted to trade with Mali or visit it. His journey helped show the world that Africa was not just rich in resources, but rich in culture, knowledge, and leadership. After ruling for about 25 years, Mansa Musa had changed Mali forever. He had brought peace, wealth, and learning. He had made Mali known across Africa, Arabia, and even Europe. But like all great kings, his time eventually came to an end. Mansa Musa had many wives, which was common for kings of his time. Marrying into different royal families helped build alliances with powerful tribes across his empire. It also strengthened loyalty and unity. He had dozens of children, including sons, daughters, and royal relatives, who helped govern different parts of the empire. His children were often educated by the best scholars in Timbuktu. They learned languages, religion, military strategy, and leadership. Mansa Musa died around the year 1337, though no one knows the exact date. Historians believe he was buried somewhere in Niani, the ancient capital of Mali, but his tomb has never been found. Why is his burial such a mystery? Mali's royal graves were secret to protect them from grave robbers and enemies. Kings were often buried with treasures and sacred items. The tradition of keeping royal burials hidden was part of Mande custom. Some legends even say his tomb lies deep in the forest, guarded by spirits and only known to a few griots. Or that his body was buried with golden armor in a hidden cave near the Niger River. Mansa Musa was known for his enormous treasure chests filled with gold, gems, and rare items. After his death, many believe Some of these treasures were hidden by servants to protect them during troubled times. Others were lost in the shifting sands of the Sahara or sunk while crossing rivers. A few items might even be buried beneath ancient mosques or still hidden in caves. Even today, treasure hunters, archaeologists, and griots continue to search for clues. Even though his body was never found, his impact lives forever. Cities he built still stand, like Timbuktu with its mosques and ancient libraries. Books written in his time still exist, teaching us about law, medicine, math, and poetry. Stories of his generosity and wisdom are still told by griots across West Africa. And maps from the 1300s still show him, seated on a golden throne, holding a nugget of gold as large as a mango. Mansa Musa didn't just leave behind riches, he left behind hope, knowledge, and a powerful message. True wealth is not only what shines in your hand, but what you share with others and build for the future. Mansa Musa's story teaches us, wealth can do good, education builds nations, and Africa had powerful empires before colonization. He inspired future empires like Songhai. Next time someone says Africa has no history, tell them about Mansa Musa, the Golden King. Thanks for watching the Calabash Diaries. If you enjoyed this story, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Want us to open the calabash again? Comment below. Until next time, may your story be rich, your spirit kind, and your future golden.